second screening is also on Saturday, September 14th, just the next week, at 8:15 p.m. Our 22nd edition for the festival runs from September 5th to the 15th in multiple cinemas in downtown Vancouver, so please check out our lineup at vlaf.org. We would also like to thank our funders, Canada Council for the Arts, British Columbia Arts Council, City of Vancouver, Telefilm, Creative BC, STIR, and Canadian Heritage. And without further ado, I will pass it on to Anna. Thank you.
Thank you, Valen. Hi, everyone. My name is Anna. I'm the Youth Jury Coordinator here at VLAF, one of the many great elements of the festival. The Youth Jury is formed by a selection of 22 Latin American film students from across the globe, but mainly from Latin America and Canada, who join us both online and in person for activities and discussions such as these dialogues, with all of the directors of the New Directors in Competition section in our festival. Our amazing 2024 Youth Jury cohort will be in charge of delivering the Youth Choice Awards for our Best New Directors competition by the end of our 22nd edition. We are live here today with Alexandra Highland from Chile, director of Outsider Girls, one of the 7 films in this category, a film that gives us a fresh and contemporary perspective on the experience women go through in Latin America when needing to access abortion. It's a great film, and I'm very sure our audience is going to like it. And well, we're very happy to have you here today. So I'll start off the dialogue with a question regarding the cast. I'm always interested knowing how the cast for each project was made, and I just want to know a little more about these characters.
So this is an independent movie, so it took quite a long time, and I had the opportunity to start working with both actresses for a while before shooting the film. We shot the film in March 2019, and both actresses were already in the project for a few years before. First, Alicia Luz Rodriguez came to the project, and she's actually kind of an icon here in Chile because she started acting very young in very famous movies. And then she starred in Young and Wild, which was an LGBTQ movie that was very famous. So I was super, super excited to work with her because she's very, very talented and has such a important career. And then I was looking for her friend, and I met Nicole. My producer Selva introduced me to her. And when Nicole just came into the coffee we were having together, I was like, it's her. I mean, she is. And she had never done acting in front of camera before. She is an actress and she does dance, but she had never acted in front of the camera. But the chemistry between them was so beautiful. It was very, very exciting. And with both of the actresses, they were involved in a part in the script, because we talked together about a lot of their experiences and my experiences. And I always tell that the character of Rafaela, which is Nicole's character, was a bit more shy. She was more timid, but Nicole is not like that. I mean, she's very radius. So the character kind of transformed a bit. But it was amazing to have them both. From one part, like Alicia, that was super, super professional, and then Nicole, she's like this fresh voice, but they complemented each other so well. It was very, very nice.
Thank you. So before our youth jury members start to raise their questions, can you tell us a little bit more about the social context right now, or when you made the film, regarding abortion laws?
Terrible. I mean, I started writing the film when abortion was completely illegal and penalized in Chile, and criminalized. You could go to jail for it. And during the course of it, in 2018, we've got a new bill that passed that would allow abortion in 3 causes. And 2 of those causes are the normal procedures that anybody could get at any place in the world, which is in case of the mother being at risk or the baby being at risk. So before in 2018, women that would be told that their baby wouldn't live outside the womb, for example, were obliged to have the pregnancy at full. There wasn't access to abortion in the public health system. Like, it didn't exist. And the third cause is in case of rape. But obviously there are like certain things that you have to get done. And after that bill was passed, we had a conservative government, and there was imposed the consciousness objection. So certain medical centers can say, we won't practice abortions because we are against it morally, which I kind of feel it sounds illegal, but it's legal here. I mean, I think I was under the impression that medical staff have to like give the care anyways, but they have this consciousness objection. So the thing is, it is still very illegal and very hard to get. It's only in very small cases that you're allowed to have an abortion. And there's another like very, very sad fact that it's like last year we had numbers of the people that were getting these like numbers of ages and data. And on the third cause of rape, the girls that were getting it were in between the ages of 11 and 13 years old. So we're talking about mainly rape in young people. So it's very devastating. Even though since I've been writing this, I've been waiting for, abortion rights. We do have some countries in Latin America who have done it, which is amazing, but we still live in a continent that is very conservative and has like a very strong religious people still in the government. So yeah, it is still very legal in Chile, except for these three causes that are mainly basic for me. Like, I think aiding the mother in case of risk, or aiding the baby in case of risk, sounds like normal health practices, but they weren't allowed in Chile until 2018, which is yesterday. So yeah.
Thank you for that, and all the context really enriches the story for those who aren't completely informed. So thank you. Frida, up next.
Yes, first, thank you so much for your movie. I think it's really important to talk about these kind of topics. So my question is in this way. Representing such a complex and sensitive topic as abortion is in Chile, where, how you say, is illegal, but using comedy, I think it's a really brave choice, because I think that life is exactly in this way. So my question is, what were the biggest challenge you faced in telling this story in a country with such a restricted context about the abortion? And how did you manage to strike the right balance between the humor and the seriousness of the topic, of the subject?
It was very hard. People would tell me I was crazy most of the time. It was also very hard to be a woman director. There's still a huge gap, gender gap, in every place. So when I would come up to people saying, I want to make a movie that talks about abortion, people would be like, no. Or is it funny? Then double no, Sorry. And the part of the comedy was, I always talk that with my friends, comedy is kind of like the way, it's kind of like to laugh instead of crying. Maybe it's better to laugh to cry. And things that happen when you're young and you're a woman, and well, anytime being a woman. I'm sorry if it's loud, I'm in a public place, but a music started. Okay. And I always wanted to make a funny movie because it felt like the way we took things, like we would make jokes around heavy stuff to like beat it a little less terrible. And yeah, I mean, I never wanted to laugh about abortion, like on abortion, because it's not that. I mean, I think it's a serious matter. It's not nice. Like, I wouldn't recommend it. Like, we are always like, of course we're pro-abortion, but like we're pro-sexual rights, you know, like I would rather not have people having to get abortions because it's not nice, and less in an illegal way. But life is funny, and I think comedy is kind of like a nice way to give hard messages. I think like there's a lot of films about abortion, and there are lots that focus on the awful parts of it, and or in decisions. And I didn't want to talk about this being a decision or not, just being like the adventure of trying to get an illegal abortion in this context by these two girls that were, you know, a bit crazy or a bit como not very serious about it. I mean, they are serious, but they kind of like joke around because it felt very much like my 20s, which was like walking around talking stupid things and then being affected by really, really, really serious issues. So yes, comedy I thought it was a nice way to talk about something that was hard, and that in the end, I kind of wanted to make a film to tell people like abortion is a law, it's a health right, you know, it's like a basic human right that is again being trespassed because of conservatism and things like women are still being left like aside. And I really wanted to make a funny movie, and because I also like comedy, and also because it was very representative of how we would take things as younger girls. Like, I don't know, remember my friend being like, oh, I'm suspect that maybe I'm pregnant. And we would be like, oh, okay, so when's the baby shower? You know, like making jokes around it to make it less awful, because it generally was quite awful. And I don't know, I would remember going to pharmacies to buy pregnancy tests. And when you're young looking and you're buying a pregnancy test, you get stares and even like ugly comments. I always say that, well, the film is it's quite I say it's a documentary, no, but it's very based on real facts. But I did like tone down a lot of those facts to make it like a nice movie to watch, you know? Like there was a lot of violence in these processes. And I was like, it cannot all be violence, because there's a lot of movies to see that. And I don't know, I didn't want to repeat certain things. I did want to talk about how serious it is, but also maybe left aside some terrors. But yes, that.
Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you, Alexandra. We have Azul next.
Hello. Well, thank you so much for being here and for your film. The topic is awesome to talk about that. I actually work as well in abortion films, but from Argentina. So it's very good to see different ways to show that. I think comedy is a really good tool. But my question is going to be more about production design. I really enjoy the movie, like the production design, because you took that comedy as well in the design, like yeah, I don't know. If you can talk to me about that a little bit, it will be awesome.
So the art department was the biggest department it was an independent movie, so it was kind of small. And most of the things that you see in the movie were from our houses or like our friends. We did we asked for people to send stickers, so we had like tons of stickers that we would just stick everywhere, and tons of like art pieces. And we really wanted to make a fiction feature. Like there was an intention. I know some people say it looks like over stylized, and it is, but because we wanted to do that, we really wanted to play it that way. I know like their apartment is very like flashy. Like, I don't know if it's very real to have like 20-year-olds living in that kind of apartment that's like so filled with stuff. But we really wanted to make this kind of little oasis for them. And the clothing also was from the team. I mean, we had like a lot of things were like shared. And during pre-production, we had like a lot of like handcrafts in the afternoons of working, and we would like stick glitter to everything, and we would be like inventing things. There's tons of details. Like some cigarettes have some like glitter attached because of nothing. And we also invented a lot of these brands, mostly to play with fiction. Like we really wanted to play with have fun around fiction, and also to to be spared of loss or anything that copyright things. But yeah, we had a lot of fun in that way. Production design is it was one of the departments I had worked in before, so I was obviously like had a lot of eye on it. But we had a lot of fun, and it was a lot of the things were put on the script also, like some names or jokes or stuff in the script. And yeah, and then it was like playing with all the things we had around for the party where they go with dress ups. We basically had like all of our friends dress up massively for the party, so that was super fun. I mean, people could bring their own like identities to it, and also yes, be playful with it, I think.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alexandra. Up next, we've got Nuria.
Hi, Alexandra. Pleasure to meet you. My question is sort of related to what you've talked about so far. I'm kind of interested that your film is a fiction film that has caught my attention in different ways. I think, well, I believe there's a tendency that in certain filmmaking spaces, that if you want to talk about a political struggle or a political topic, you have to work in nonfiction. And it doesn't only apply to film, but other artistic disciplines. But I personally believe there is a political power in making fiction work. So I'm kind of interested in listening. What do you find in fiction? What virtues did you find in fiction to talk about and to perhaps imagine certain things about abortion? Sorry, my cats are fighting. Just right here. But yeah, thank you.
Hi, Kat. Yes, it is I mean, well, I see. One thing, I think fiction is easier to digest sometimes. Sometimes people are kind of like reticent. I don't know if I'm inventing another word, but to documentary, because they find it boring, or maybe slow, or maybe too tragic, or maybe sometimes it's just like too much information. And I feel fiction was kind of like deceiving a bit the people, and being like, you're going to watch a very, very funny movie that's very pink, and then you're going to be like talked into abortion laws. I do feel fiction can be very political. I think that what makes it political is we are political beings. I mean, for me, all of this is something that I'm very into, like activism, like women's rights, LGBTQ rights are something that matter to me. Also, sexual and reproduction rights. So I feel I know the film is not necessarily like pamphletary, or like I think those girls, I would like to think that they will be going to manifestations after what they did, but maybe they weren't so political in the first place. But it does come from a very politic way. Selva, my producer, she's also like a huge activist. So we're very interested in making it politic. And for me, it was to make a film just to tell people how important it is to have abortion rights. it is tricky with fiction because because it's more normal how, like you say, to be political in documentaries. But I think fiction can be very political too, onto the points of view. I think it's the point of view that gives it. Like, I insist, I don't know if these girls are like the most political people ever. They're kind of like, I don't know, funny, or like a bit disconnected. I don't know, but it is political to decide on your body, to decide on what you're going to do, to look for strategies, and also to be. To make like a front with your friend. Like, I think, how they say, like, tenderness is revolutionary, and it's like a resistance act. Resistance act. Yes.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Alexandra, you, Nuria. Up next, we have Diego Minor. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much. I lost the speaker. Hola, Alex. Ya te veo. Alex,
Oli.
thank you so much for sharing your movie with us. It was very fun. I had a lot of fun watching. So thank you. Yeah, so my question, the story, I think, also like the second maybe main theme of the story is friendship. We have this core group of friends that's always there for each other, and Rafa like also finds herself putting her trust in other people throughout the movie who in some kind of way end up not fulfilling that, or not betraying her but disappointing her in a way, either by leaving or flat out saying they don't like her or stuff like that. Yeah. So I'm just kind of interested where this aspect of friendship or sorority comes from. So, but also showing the other side of that coin. Like, there's people that you can't trust. There's people that you shouldn't put your trust in, and how that interplayed for you with the whole theme of abortion as well.
So yes, definitely friendship is one of the big themes of the movie. I love friendship movies. I love buddy movies. I think we need more female friendship buddy movies. There are, but more. And I kind of wanted to show Rafa in a very chaotic state. I think she's going through a really, really tough time. So she makes bad decisions, and she, like you said, puts her trust in places she shouldn't. But I really wanted to just like show how powerful her bond with Gabby is. It's like, it's friends that sleep together and like do everything together. And in the moment they are faced with having to have this abortion, it's like they're going, like, they didn't even think about it. She doesn't go like, okay, maybe I'll help you. It's just like they go both go forward. And I think Rafa is in a very chaotic state, because like I can, like, it's really you really lose your mind in front of having to, being pregnant, being young, having an abortion in a place where you really can't. And nowadays we have a lot of more feminist organizations, but when I started writing this film, which was based in these facts, we didn't really have this, it was through Facebook, and people would deceive you. So I think she's in a very chaotic state, and obviously that leads her to make like bad decisions. And we had these very like satellite characters that are all around this, like, it's kind of like a road trip, but on foot. And yeah, these people betray her, or like are not nice, or are weird about it. I really wanted to show how these like different relationships just form. And for the girl that is Candy, and the one that lends her the money, and she goes like, we're not friends. it does talk about sorority. It does talk about how sometimes women support each other without even liking each other. I was once telling a group of friends, of male friends, I was telling them like, if I'm in the bathroom and like my biggest enemy comes into the bathroom and I hate her, but she goes like, do you have like a tampon or anything? And if I have one, I will give it to her. And maybe we will get out of the bathroom and never be friends again and never talk. But it's something that like, you've kind of been there, So maybe sometimes I feel in sorority that we are like forced to like every single woman. And I think it doesn't go that it's not that. It's mostly that we know the struggle, we know what it feels like to, being seen like a secondary human. But yes, I think it's relationships are weird. I really wanted to show how like chaotic everything is, and everything is not very linear or like obvious. Like maybe the girl that is lending you the money after like a crazy night out, maybe not be your friend, or when you meet someone in the street, you get abandoned. Or when she goes and talks with the father of the baby, and he goes all like, "Oh, let's have the baby." It's like different ways of. I don't know. It feels like my point of view is like life is chaotic and weird, and generally like weirder than fiction. And yeah, I wanted to show how friendship has its matices. Saludo. Yeah. I don't know. Matices. Colors. Okay. Yeah. But.
Shades, a lo mejor.
Sí, claro. Sí.
Muchas gracias, Alex.
Gracias.
Thank you, Alexandra. Thank you, Diego. All right, up next we've got Carlos.
Hi, Alexandra. Pleased to meet you. I have a blast watching your movie. It felt so fresh because these narratives or this type of language in cinema, or at least in Latin American cinema, it's not portrayed. And I really, really enjoyed your movies saying that. And I really, really enjoyed your protagonist. I felt like they were my friends. I felt like I knew them like my whole life, and that's priceless for me. So can you talk about the process through in your script for creating these characters?
I also feel they're my friends. I have a very weird parasocial relationship with the characters. And whenever I watch the movie, I think like, oh, I love these guys. I also think they are crazy, but I really, really like them. So the script, I actually really took scenes from life, from real life. So my friend had to have an abortion, and we were young, and I always felt I love watching movies. I'm a really I love watching films, and I was really feeling that I was lacking like a female friendship, like buddy movie. I really wanted to see that, and I felt that I had this really, really close friend with my friend. She actually spoke in the premiere of the film. It was very exciting. And we had this very like strong bond, like crazy bond, and weird things would happen to us. And I was like, I'm not seeing this in anywhere. Like it doesn't feel like how we've been told how are things. I was very like surprised. Like we're always told that like women are very conflictive, but it wasn't like that for us. And we had like a intensely strong bond. So I started just like grabbing things that had happened in real life and just kind of putting it into some sort of structure for a film. And I was, as I said before, were a lot of things that happen that are like turned into the nicer version of it. So for example, the guy would tell her like, let's have the baby. It's the very nicer version of, being told like, I don't want to know about this, like go off, like you're a lady of the night. Like, I don't know, like being very like violented with things. But yes, it was, I really like script writing. It's like something that I love. And I really try to grab these scenes from life and just make it make sense in a film. And then when I was telling that when the actresses came into the project, we also discussed a bunch of things, like from like what kind of like stupid jobs have you done? Or for example, in the birthday party where they throw cake to the girls, that actually happened to Nicole in real life. And in real life, they didn't get like a lousy tip. She didn't even get anything. She was like, she was barely asked to the bathroom to clean herself. It was very awful, but we would talk about that. And also, I really like to write characters that are not, I would never write a character like 23 female, blonde hair, I don't know, like certain height, because I'm looking for people to act those characters. I don't know, it's my take, like it's okay if people write very like strict characters, but I like to think that the actors kind of like bring their own thing to the film. And basically I was casting people that would be kind of like a bit of a version of themselves. I mean, obviously, Alicia and Nicole are not exactly like that, but well, Nicole's character was more shy, and Nicole is not like that. And I really wanted them to also exist. Also, with the other characters, all of the like these satellite characters, all of them, they were really handpicked because the industry is not that big. So we were like a few like text messages away from people we really admired or had thought about the roles. And they had like excellent disposition because we have some like very famous people that we only got there for like one scene. And so I was like insanely grateful about it. We had very like professional people, yeah, going for like one day of shooting. But yeah, I really wanted to make it's kind of a hybrid. It could be if we talk about like the narrative, but yes, it's still a fiction film, and it was about like really just like grabbing slices of life. I think it is called, like, yeah. I would write down certain like weird conversations we had or jokes we made, and yes, places we had been, or yeah, it was very much like a mixture of writing a script, which is something I'm really fond of. It's really fun to do, but really taking things very literally, yes, and twisting it a bit.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexandra. That sounds like a really fun process.
It was hard also and long, but
Up next, we have Nicolas.
Well, hi, Alexandra. Yeah, thank you so much for your film. I think it's a very important film for Chile, because I'm from Chile. So I
sí,
think
Nico Yartel. Yours, tu apellido.
sí, Mapuche, de hecho.
Sí.
I think it's really important to Chilean reality and right now, and also I think it's a very fresh film to the Chilean industry. A lot of familiar faces like Coque Santana, Paula Latus, and also new names in the crew team like Roberto Doroveis, Valeria Hernandez, and Thomas Bordrofe. I think there are very talented people in your team, so it was a really fresh film in that way too. So my question is, like, how do you feel and think the approach of the public to the film talks about Chilean reality, a part of all the political things that the state says? How do you feel that the public relates to our reality?
Well, it obviously when the film premiered in Chile, which was in January, most of there were tons of comments about people that are anti-abortion, and they would be like, she should have been more careful, etc. Which was I kind of expected it, but it was also it's very surprising to see. There were also, it was funny because people started fighting in the comments immediately. And there were people that were like defending, like, and there were even people, because, well, I think it happens in a lot of countries, but people are very like against our own cinema. So people were saying like, I don't care if it's for women's rights. I don't want to see another like stupid Ñuñoa movie, And see, but and I understand it, and it's normal. Like why, like it's okay if they say that. It's okay if they don't like it. Wish we could have like bigger audiences, because obviously people would ask me like, do you think this movie could help like move processes of loss? And I'd be like, oh, I'd be so proud if it would. But I don't think we get to that much audiences. Still, like independent cinema lives like in the independent cinema shadow. But it was very interesting. I mean, I think the best part of one of the greatest parts of film is showing it to people and talking to people. And I had a lot of women and people just come over and being like, I felt very represented. My abortion was like this. My other abortion was like this. And that was beautiful and great to have the conversation. I do think that I kind of like when I was in some of the cinema theaters, I would kind of know which kind of people would like the film. You know, I would see like the girlies with the hair, I mean, like colored hair and like makeup. And I was like, she's going to like it. Like, I'm not expecting it for like, I don't know, a conservative man to like it. I did had a comment from a guy after a film, and he told me like, because of my religion, I cannot be pro-abortion, but I really like the film. So that was fun. But yeah, I mean, it shows we are still living in a very conservative society. I mean, I know in film spaces, it's like a safer space to talk about it. But I would always say that, I don't know, like certain friends of my mom, when they would ask me like, what is the film about? I'd be like, abortion, you know? It's still kind of a controversy theme. Obviously, it was very different showing the film in Europe last year. I had the chance to go to, the film premiered in Rotterdam, which is the Netherlands, where they have assisted suicide, you know, like their laws are very forward. And they were very, very impressed that we didn't have legal abortion. And then when I showed it I was able to go to Mexico, to Colombia, and to Argentina, and to Brazil to show the film. And obviously the conditions were different. Our Argentinian mates were their abortion is legal very recently, only in 2020. So obviously the story resonated a lot. But yes, it was very special showing it to the public, but it did show me that it's still very conservative. Like, I think it's terrible that I have to be cautious when I talk about the film. And it was very, very, very hard during the process when I was trying to look for funding or stuff. I remember I was in one of these like industry meetings, and the guy told me like, are you going to show how the abortion is made? And I was like, yes. He didn't know there would be like literal instructions, but I was like, yes. And he stood up and said, I don't want to have nothing to do with this. And most people would tell me like, you're doing something that's terrible. You shouldn't be doing that. That's like offensive. And I was like, maybe, but like, maybe let me do the film first. I don't know. But yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alexandra. Up next, we have Victor.
Hi, Alexandra. Thank you so much for being here with us today. I really enjoyed your movie. I really liked it. I had a lot of fun watching it. I like the light, as you already talked about it, the light tone of the whole situation. And as an aspiring screenwriter, I would like to know about your process on keeping track of these changes, because you mentioned several times that it was a long process until you guys started shooting, and then it had the process with the actors, and you said that you guys shoot in 2019, and the movie was released last year. So I would like to know like how the story also changed in the editing room, this whole process on keeping the story to its theme, but at the same time seeing what was better and making those changes as you went through the way.
So I think films go through like existing 4 times. So the first time is when it exists in a script. And then when you go to shoot, like the script really goes to the trash. I mean, not really, but like I feel that cinema is it has like so many different elements that have to work, that when you're actually shooting, I think that is like magic of cinema, because what happens when you're actually shooting, it determines, I don't know, everything. And it doesn't care about the script, like sometimes, I don't know, like a tiny thing, like maybe the actress is delayed and like she didn't get to the time and place, or maybe somebody hadn't had a good day, it will like affect everything. So I think like when you are actually shooting, that's like the magic of it, because maybe sometimes you have like things that are new or different, and then it exists when you like do the editing. And for me, it was my first film. I mean, I had done short films, but the thing that when you watch the material and it's like you watch like a 360 version of it, because you're watching the screen, which is just like, the screen. But I would see like, oh, that day was very, very cold and we were shooting that at 4 a.m. and she was very tired and it was and hard. And I know the scene is not like perfect because all of these things happen, or like this scene is perfect and beautiful because it was maybe random. And like the final part is just when you show it to people, which is like mostly what we talk about art, which is the relationship that people have with the film. And that has little to do with me, and I love it. And it did change in the editing room, but the script was very like fixated. I mean, we did have like these tiny places to improvise, but the script was like very, very done in 2016, 2017. And well, we shot in March in 2019, and in Chile, we had a social uprising in October 2019, which was very, it was tons of things happened and a lot of things changed. And when we had the uprising, I felt the film was very, very old. Like this happened, and I felt like, because we were so focused on like social rights and like fighting for things, I felt the movie had been like left behind. And then, well, we ran out of funds during the pandemic, and so we were editing, but we couldn't do the post-production. That's why it took longer time. And when we eventually were able to do the post-production, things were, well, the social uprising had a bunch of ups and downs, and things were kind of back to a starting point, kind of. So the film was, again, I feel relevant. I do see the film, and I know it feels vintage for me, because it's very based in my 20s, which was in the 2010s, So but I feel it does still have relevancy. Another thing that had happened during this whole time, because I started writing in 2015, was that I was expecting abortion to be legal eventually. And people would tell me, which was very like a bad commentary and a weird commentary, and they would tell me like, the abortion will be legal and your film won't be relevant. And I would be like, great. Like, I don't care about relevancy. I mean, a film is a film, like, who cares if it's relevant or not? Like, but abortion rights are great. And whether this like thread was put on, it really never happened. So that was that has been like, I remember being like pressured by people to like premiere the film like as soon as possible in case the abortion bill would pass. And it really hasn't, which is very sad. We did have like the 3 causes, which is like basic rights, but I feel it happily is still relevant, and it kind of, even though I had the fear that it would be very, very not relevant or very old, or would feel very, old, I could premiere it now and still see how relevant it is, and how we are, well, as Simone de Beauvoir always said, that human rights and women's human rights are always on the verge of being violated. I mean, in Argentina, they got legal abortion in 2020, but with the new president, I have no idea what will happen. In the United States, they had like a very strong abortion law, and then a few years ago passed like the Roe versus Wade was, which meant some states put go back. And well, Colombia has legal abortion very recently, which is very inspiring because Colombia is has like a kind of a political climate similar to Chile. In Mexico, it just got legalized last year at a federal state. It was legal in various states, but it was like federally legal. So things are like moving around, but as every thing advances a bit, like the right wing and the ultra fascist like waves just like shock back. I don't know. So yeah, it is weird, and I don't know. I think you have to know it will be a long process. I always say with my next films, my only intention with it is just to have it to be shorter, like a shorter, because this took me like 8 years. So hopefully the next one is 7. But like knowing it will change and some jokes will get old, and you have to be like to be prepared to be. You do have to write like thinking in the future, so it's kind of strange. So I would never like write a very like specific joke from that time, like from a meme, for example, because obviously, I don't know, in 3 years more, it wouldn't be funny, or maybe it would be funny, but yeah, just thinking it's a long process and that it goes through different stages, and that some of those stages have nothing to do with you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alexandra. Up next, we've got Francis and Kabil.
Hi. So first, I wanted to say that I really enjoy your movie, especially as some people have said the representation of sorority and friendship as forms of care and protection in the hands of a violent nation state. But I was just curious a little bit about the title and just your inspiration behind the title. Yeah, thank you.
I wanted, well, in Spanish it's Las Demás. The English title was put by my producer, which was fine, but it does talk. I always felt with my friends that we were in like abstract state. Like we never felt like, you know, like the most popular people or the most, we really felt in like a middle, like a weird middle ground, which I feel is the normal middle ground. But generally movies are more about like heroes or the most unlikable characters. And I felt the outsider part, or the Las Demás, which means like more like the rest of them. Talked about like this feeling I had with not being like main character, like a complete main character, but also not the complete antagonist, just like maybe a place in between. Because I feel it happens a lot. Well, we have so many things put as women and as diversities, like how we should be or how things like are or must be, and things are very, again, like non-linear or not exact. And I really felt like that with my friends. I felt like not everything was about being females, not everything was about having sex, not everything was about men. It was about so many things, and sometimes about that too. But for me, I really wanted to show something that was closer to me, that had this like non-main character energy. I don't know if it's okay to say it that way, but yeah, I felt like like I was never the most anything, you know, just like, and I felt. And it was funny because the title, The Outsider Girls, I have only during the process of this film just found more outsider girls like me, you know, in the process. So like we have found each other thinking I was like we were like apart because, right, you know, we were like I wasn't the person. Yeah, it's the middle ground. It's like this weird middle ground where you don't feel very like exactly a girl, and you don't feel exactly like anything that people expect you to be, you know, like maybe sometimes you're a good student and maybe sometimes you're not. It's not so like categoric. Yeah. it's not very like categoric with anything. And yeah, I wanted to talk about this outsider thing, just feeling like you're not the representation of anything that you've seen before, because it's not really there. I don't know. I really wanted to show how I felt with my friends, which is like, I don't know, we have trying, not like, you're not like actively trying to break the rules, but it just happens. Yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you. And I think Francis.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Francis.
Um,
I just want to start by saying I really enjoyed watching your film. I really liked the color palette. I thought that was really great. As well as like the characters. I feel like they were so relatable and like real, and it just like sucked me in from the start, both like visually and narratively. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm curious about what your previous short films were and what are you planning on working on next?
So I had a previous short film that was about this girl that would that she would escape from school. How do you say when you don't go to school?
Skip school?
Yeah, she would skip school. She would skip school, and she would skip school most of the time and just go roam around the cities, and she would she would do hand jobs and get money to go play at the arcades. And it was, yeah, I was also very criticized for that. They were like, why are you sexualizing a teen? And my teacher was very angry that she didn't really have like a motive in life. He was like, she should want to be, I don't know, go to university. She should want something. And I was like, she's 15, she doesn't want anything. That, I mean, I don't know, like for me, it felt like that way. But it did still have a lot of this like roaming around the city a bit aimlessly. For me, it happened that I lived in the city. I kind of lived far away from the center. So whenever I went to school, I would just like pack a bag for the day, and I would constantly be like like camping in this like outside places, kind of like right now, because I was telling that I had an issue with the time. I was confused with the time, and now I'm in at a local cinema because I had to get off the bus so I'm sitting in a corner. Nobody has told me anything yet, but it was like nice lighting. But yeah, it felt really about this roaming around and being a girl with not like clear intentions. Like I remember people were very angry with the girl not having like a strict wish or desire. And I felt like we deserve to not wanting to do things, you know. Yes, so it kind of went, and now I'm writing 2 films. I always say last year at Rotterdam, people were like, we'll see you next year with your next film. And I was like, yeah, kind of in 8 years or less. I'm writing 1 film that's mostly, I want to make like this experiment on filmmaking, on making a very easy way to shoot. Like I want to do it in a studio, and I want it to be like very effective. But the film is about chaos, and I think like I will try to control the filmmaking, but I think I'm also like expecting to see how chaos ensues. And I'm also writing a stoner film. But it's funny because I used to be like more of a stoner a few years ago, and nowadays I don't smoke that much, and I feel like that when I will be finally shooting it, I will probably not be smoking, which will be strange, but you know how life changes. But yeah, it's again about like a group of friends trying to survive against a hostile environment with just being themselves. And yeah, I feel I'm very repetitive in the topics. I mean, I like to talk about friendships. I mean, friendships are like my wall of resistance nowadays. Like my friends and the people, you know, like your chosen families and stuff. It's really a place of resistance, and it's a place of ternura, which is I don't know, ternura, kind of like sweetness, or yeah, it's like of care. Yeah, it's a place of care within people against this very like hostile system, which is, I know it's not only in Chile. I mean, we have an entire world in quite a long crisis, which has been being extended. But yeah, it's about resistance in some way.
Awesome. Thank you. Can't wait to watch.
Someday.
Thank you. Thank you, Alexandra. I think we only have time for one more question today, actually. I know there's 3 people waiting, but I'm sorry. So I think we're gonna go with, I have Ricardo here first on my display, but if anyone knows who was first, if not, Ricardo, you can go.
Okay, thank you. Hi, Alexandra. Thank you so much for being here. I was wondering about that scene that we were all waiting for, the scene on the bathtub where the act, the abortion actually happens, and the actress there, she touches the blood on the bathtub, and then she checks on it. It's a very complex moment, I would say, and there's a lot of subtext there for sure. So I was wondering how much you directed, also like the actors' actions, and how much of it was on the script, and how much you found out by rehearsing of that moment. How was this collaboration for that?
Oh, that was a very sensitive moment. I really wanted to show the abortion. For me, it was very important to literally show how much blood it is and how it goes. I do feel like narratively the film could have ended when they just meet in the park, in the like fair. How do you say it? In the fun park where she's. But I really, really wanted to show how an abortion goes, because I think most people don't know how it is. And the abortion with pills, it takes about 12 hours. It's a strong process. It's okay also because it's a safe process, but it is still very intense. And how many women live it and how I had lived it, which is being there for each other and just like spending the time. And yeah, I wondered, like, I didn't want it to be gore in on purpose. It was really showing about, and for Nicole, we had well, the whole movie, we had the luck to shoot it kind of in order, kind of, but mostly. So it was it was a huge emotional journey for all of us as a team. I was very nervous because I felt that I had put Nicole through so much, because it's very emotional for them too. And yeah, I think that scene, I love that scene. It makes me very sensitive. I feel it's very subtle. It's very sweet. The line where she goes, "Do you want to come see?" And she goes like, "No, gross," was in the script from. I mean, I did like a teaser for it, and that line was it from Always, because it does make it kind of funny and kind of like it breaks it a little bit, and yeah, it just talks about how it ended. I don't know. We did do a lot of research because she's 9 weeks old, and in 9 weeks old you do have like a blood clot that's kind of this size. But yeah, it was a thing of like really, really actually showing how it is. We also got instructions, but I really wanted to show people how it goes. It was maybe a scene that was maybe long, I don't know, but I really wanted to show how time passes and how it's terrible at the moment. Like, I don't know, like I don't wish it upon anyone because it's painful, etc. And obviously in an illegal way is awful. But yeah, for me it was important to really show it, to actually show how was it. And I don't know, I feel the process took us to that place that was so sensitive and like so sweet. And I really love how Nicole looks, and I really love that we finally get like a really close, like up close shot of her face. Just, I don't know, she does it so subtle. I really like it. It's beautiful and sad, and also, I don't know, like a relief, like a relief.
All right. Thank you, Alexandra. Thank you, everyone,
No,
for the
muchas
questions
gracias.
today. Thank you for
Sí.
bringing your amazing personality and making us part of the process and
No,
letting
thank you
us
so much.
get to know a little better you and your film.
Yes. No, thank you. I love you, juries. I think they're amazing. It's an amazing initiative. Like for me, this film was for, 17, 18, I don't know. But it's very special. I really love talking to young people. I was a youth jury myself in Chile once. So it's a really great space to talk to each other and just see movies. So thank you so much for you guys also to how they say, moderar everything.
Thank you, Alexandra. I don't know if Valen is around there somewhere.
Yes, thank
Yes,
you.
here
Thank
you
you so much, everybody. And just for those of you listening, please don't forget to catch Outsider Girls on Saturday, September 7th at 6:15 at the Cinematheque, and Saturday, September 14th at 8:15 p.m. at the Cinematheque as well. Thank you so much. Have a good day.
Great. Thank you. Thank you,
Bye.
everyone. Nice to meet you. Bye.